All right, guys, we are here at the U.S. Open in Tulsa, Oklahoma. First interview of the day. I had to get my man Brian. This is Brian Stuebner out of Springfield, Missouri. Now, we've known each other for a while. Have not got an interview.
It's got to be 12 years or so, right?
12 years, yes.
Maybe longer.
Lots of cool stuff. I was trying to catch up with you in where was it? St. Louis or something?
Yeah.
But
I left early. I think I was sick or someone was sick.
I got Trey instead. I told Trey I had to redo it.
Yeah.
I got my new mics. Did you see the other podcast from that?
Yeah.
The audio, I'll never use those Rode mics.
At least we got the good ones out for today.
Yes, so we got the good ones out for today.
Nice.
And then we got away from the crowd. The crowd's part of the problem. I do hope you guys like the background. Super cool venue, right?
Oh, yeah. The venue's awesome. It's incredible. If you guys haven't been here, it's probably one of the best jiu-jitsu tournament venues that we do every year. For sure.
The UMAC in Tulsa. And running 12 mats today, nearly 1,100 competitors. Then you get some dropouts with, different ankle breaks and sicknesses and grandma coming and stuff. So
yeah, right.
We ended up with like 1,035, I believe, was the final number after everything. So super excited. It's a super tough market. A lot of people know that like when you come here, it's not an easy day.
No, it's a tough tournament. I mean, one of our kids had a 19-person division. It was a gray belt, 65 pounds or something like that. That's incredible. That's a massive division.
And I love that. That's what we want is the experience. Something that I've always been jealous from the wrestlers having so much more experience in their matches than the jiu-jitsu guys.
For sure.
So it's when we get those matches like that and those brackets, you're also going to run into good kids.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what a tournament like this really does. Is it attracts like all the cream of the crop. So, you'll still have people kind of checking out and trying out tournaments, but for the most part, I feel like all the seasoned competitors are always going to be here. So my daughter especially is going to be looking forward to, competing today. And pretty much
she shot me a cell phone message before that happens.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen her compete.
She did good. Nogi, she'll have Nogi Challenger coming up here in just a bit. So
when I came to your school, we skated in the back for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I remember that. There, but I haven't seen her compete. That's so cool.
Yeah, she's a little savage.
Stupid nervous?
Oh, it's the worst. It's like I'm competing in the finals at Worlds or something like that. I'm sweating. I'm shaking. I can hardly hold the phone. It's terrible. But
I have to control myself too with my own kids. That's definitely.
You would think it would get better, but it has not. I think it gets worse because she starts to get more dialed in and what she wants to do and have a specific result, and so
Can't
I'm
miss.
let's go. Exactly. So it's a lot of fun, but it's also very stressful. But I like a venue like today because I feel like I get a little bit more breathing time. There's plenty of space for everybody to kind of spread out, and the mats seem to be running very smooth. So a day like today is a blessing for a coach. Especially when I have to coach my kid too. Man, it's the hardest days for sure.
How is it for you guys traveling in from Springfield? Do you have a hard time with hotels?
Oh, not at all. Tulsa's one of the best trips because we really just fly down the freeway. So it's 2.5 hours. If I'm driving a little bit less, but we get here pretty quick. So it's easy.
Okay, nice. And for the people out there who don't know, man, you run some phenomenal camps and training camps.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Not just for, and I got to get to one. Just let me know.
For sure.
Plus months.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's the hard part with so many people. All my friends in jiu-jitsu are so successful with what they're doing that it's tough to get everybody together. So when it happens, it's kind of a magic thing.
I'll be honest, I get a little jealous. I see it and I'm like, oh,
it's a deep mat,
Yeah, tell us about that a little bit, how I got started, what your vision is.
So a long time ago, I went to Caio's, my professor, Caio Terra. I went to his academy for a Pan Am's camp and was just overwhelmed with the amount of world champions that were there. People like the greats, Leandro Lowe, and just all these amazing black belts, right? People that I had always looked up to. And so going 3 times a day for 2.5 weeks, I was just getting ragdolled and killed by everybody, but I fell in love with it. I feel like that experience changed my projective, journey, and so from then on, I just wanted to emulate that as much as possible. So I went for a few more years out to Pan's camp at Caio's, but then we started just hosting it at our place. I was like, I want to give the Midwest an opportunity to have that same type of, environment where all the best around can come. We charge hardly anything really just to pay the black belts to be able to be there. And people lived at my gym and, stayed at my house. And that's where Nathan Carroll and all these guys, that's where I've met most of them is from having these camps and feeding them at my kitchen, stuff like that. So
Well, I want to train with those people, but in reality, what I'm jealous about is surfing behind the boat on the lake.
yeah. Unfortunately, I had to sell that boat, but hopefully we'll get a new one here pretty soon. So, yeah.
I sold my boat when I moved to Florida, got a boat for a while because we lived on a canal house.
Yeah.
And then we moved up towards Tampa. I don't have a canal house anymore. I got rid of the boat and stuff.
Yeah.
To move to the house, but I definitely miss the boat.
Everybody says the best days are when you sell the boat. I'm like, man, they're crazy. Like, I almost cried. So, yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I'm ready to go back.
Yeah, dude, it's terrible. Summers are so long.
Even if I got to pay like storage fees, because the new place I moved, they won't allow us to have boats on the side of the front.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, storage is what kills you, man. It's brutal.
Yeah. It's only a couple registrations.
Yeah, right. Just a few.
So, yeah, dude, Florida storage is insane. Man, so we are here killing it today. We got kids today. Are you going to be here tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. Yep,
awesome.
sure.
Who you got? A bunch of adults? You got
we probably have like a dozen adults. We had a few that weren't able to come. Had someone like break his ankle last minute. So yeah, I like to talk about ankle breaks. I was like, that's one of my guys. But it's a good tournament. I think we'll have some good results tomorrow. So.
Now I know you. Not everyone knows you on the camera. I travel all over the world, so there's people from Poland to
okay, that's awesome.
Poland to Portland. They're gonna watch this,
very
right?
Cool.
So. We've trained a little bit. I haven't trained a ton with you. I've been to the gym, whatever, but from my outside perspective, I would consider you a guardero, very good at the guard.
Yeah, right? For sure. My wrestling is
and not just knock the wrestling. I've watched you work the guards, talk the guards, so that kind of stuff, some videos as well too. Tell us a little bit about your journey in the guard, what you like to favor. You teach gi or no gi, and your school is also successful. So tell us a little bit about the success of your school.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So when I first started, I was a 10th Planet affiliate. I was like the 10th planet in the world, and that's how we actually linked up for the first time. As I came down to your gym in Waxahachie, for an Eddie seminar, right? And in 2011 or maybe 2010, I started training with Kaio.
With Kaio. I was about to say that was 07 to 09.
Oh yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that was when we were 10th planet. But when when I started training with Kaio, he just kind of showed me the gi, and just kept encouraging, not like making me do it, but you should really train in the gi. And like I said, that camp that I went to at Kaio's was like the first, okay, I was obsessed with the gi after that, And so 2013, it was like a big switch from no gi to gi for me. And I started competing as much as I could, in the gi. Man, I had a lot to cover, you know what I mean? Like a lot of ground to make up, so to speak. So that was like frustrating at times, but I really started developing a guard once I understand the grips, And so De La Hiva, reverse De La Hiva, shin on shin, those are all like my favorite guards, But I really do also play a lot of half guard. So that's mostly because I think my professor is just a half guard wizard, Like he's got so many answers from there that there's a lot of tools that he's shown me. So
1,000 different ways to play half guard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that definitely started changing what I was focused on and how I wanted to train. But as I'm getting older and the meta for jiu-jitsu and kind of how the sport is going is shifting, and so being on the mats doing more no-gi lately is I don't know, it's just got my interest again. So, leg locks and being obsessed with wrestling and stuff like that is where my brain is.
Do you feel that there's a big shift in America
100%.
Right now?
Like, if you want to make money doing jiu-jitsu as far as a competitor, you have to be doing no-gi. I would say there's probably a handful of people that are very successful. You have like the Tynan Dalpers out there who are still killing it in the gi and able to, be at the top of events and draw, right? But you look at the success that like ADCC is having and the athletes like Gordon Ryan and even Nicky Rod and Yuri and Marigali and all these guys that are able to, provide for themselves as competitors. It's really not being done in the gi, and so it's like, excuse me, I feel like there's so many more, like AGF is a great example because AGF, you can clearly see where your guys' investment continues to build the brand, right? And so the no-gi competition there is actually really stiff at some of these tournaments, I feel like not all organizations are doing that same investment. Another shout out to like ADCC. I think they're doing a great job of investing in their big events, and so that is bringing just more attention to no-gi. And then you guys have your regular tournaments that give people like a platform to practice and kind of like build themselves before they go off and try to do, a major event like this or, an ADCC qualifier or something to that effect, And so I love where jiu-jitsu is going. I feel like America is doing what it does is it gets a hold of something and kind of like brands it. You know, we change it. You know, for better, for worse, we make it ours. You know, and so I feel like you're kind of seeing that a lot with just the shift of interest in nogi. You know, so
I'm calling. I let you speak before I gave my opinion to not sway your words at all. You know, but
yeah,
I'm calling it the Great Merge.
Yeah. Okay.
And we've always had wrestling in our culture, and I believe that the Brazilians didn't have wrestling in their culture at all.
Right.
And so when judo came over and Japanese jiu-jitsu came over, and the guard could be practiced and played so much more because it's a similar game to Brazilian jiu-jitsu and what we know today is, you know, American style of jiu-jitsu, right? But because the wrestling mentality and base, just like the Russians. You know, just like that, they have it in their country. They have it there.
Yeah.
They have it in our elementary schools in certain states. You're a Missouri guy. You know, you got
they're starting at like 8 years old. They already got gnarled ears. You know, so.
And so there's a culture there, and with fighting, with the UFC being the headquarters here in the United States, and perceiving what dominant positions are and stuff like this, and a lot of the wrestling and jiu-jitsu that's in that sport, you got jiu-jitsu black belts, but they're wrestling more than an average jiu-jitsu practitioner because they're wall fighting and open mat wrestling to prepare for a fight.
Right.
So in that culture as well too, there's more wrestling, you know. And so I think that we have obviously a little bit ways to go, but I think that there's going to be a very large merge.
Well, and I feel like the more that there's avenues for wrestling to go past high school and college, the more that you're going to see that crossover, you know? So like the UFC has pretty much turned into professional wrestling, you know what I mean? Like, so a wrestler that's coming out of a D1 school that's wrestled and wants to continue to be an athlete, what are they going to do? They're going to go do MMA likely, you know, or get involved with jiu-jitsu, you know? And so it's like they already have such a leg up on competitors that they really just have to learn the other side of it. And the tenacity, the work ethic, the conditioning, the stuff that comes along with being good at wrestling is just, it's hard to teach that, you know. And
I still don't think we quite have tapped into the elite athletes of that yet either.
No,
we truly haven't.
And that's why I'm glad to see more interest.
The truth is a bunch of 35-year-old stoners in jiu-jitsu.
Facts.
You know, and that's okay. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying, like, there's a large mom and pops population in jiu-jitsu. There's a large 25 to 35 population, you know, and so you're not always going to get the elite athletes from that group, that, you know, but the guys coming straight out of college and the guys that are merging fighting or jiu-jitsu, like you're saying, out of wrestling out of college, those dudes already know it.
For sure.
But there's going to be, I think, also, and it's happening now, it already happens with the high-level athletes, I think there's going to be more physicality coming too.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the more that parents can see that there is an opportunity for that work that their kids are putting in to take them somewhere, I feel like that's where you're going to start getting bigger and bigger support, you know, like where the parents are driving them to the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week. You know, they're doing private lessons 3 or 4 days a week. They have a conditioning coach. You know, maybe they're not old enough to lift weights yet, but they're learning how to move. They're doing other activities where they're becoming mobile. You know, I feel like the more that parents see like opportunity, the more that it's easy for them to encourage and put their money and their time behind it. You know,
excellent point. Excellent point. People don't talk about that either. You know, you're talking about.
You're not going to do it if the payoff for your kid is like, oh, they're going to get injured, and then after that, they're going to make no money, and then
or get a black belt.
Yeah, exactly.
Parents,
it's like,
especially parents who don't train.
They've never been a part of that. It's not part of our culture.
Yeah, they're not really. They want.
And so I feel like you give them like a lot of parents put their kids in sports for the opportunity to maybe get a college education. You know, and so it's like, how awesome would it be to see grappling start to merge its way into, you know, the school systems, because wrestling is already running parallel with it. That the more we can have that similarity and that common ground, the more that parents can kind of see the payoff.
So you see AGF partnering up with USA Grappling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the details about that with United World Wrestling and what's going on in behind the scenes or anything like that. But, you know, I'm just doing my part as an American. I'm a combat vet. My company is red, white, and blue. If USA Grappling goes up or down, I hope they go up. But, you know, like in terms of not just USA Grappling, but United World Grappling.
Right.
However that sport goes, as in like to the Olympics or not, or it fizzles out in terms of that, I don't think it's going to fizzle out. It's been around for 8-10 years, something like that already.
It continues to gain traction, I feel like, you know, even if it doesn't get the result as it comes around and becomes petitioned, it's like it's getting closer. You know, more people are becoming aware.
I think you have, so you're having guys that are ADCC veterans and Nogi world champs and ladies, right, that qualify now, that higher level people are joining it. I mean, that's what USA Grappling was kind of running into, is they didn't have the greatest organization for their qualifiers and team trials, and all of their money was going into trying to send the people to Poland or Serbia or Spain or wherever the United World Wrestling or United World Grappling Championships was, right? And so that's when they approached us and was like, hey, can you help us professionalize this, And so that's what we're trying to do.
Well, I mean, and that's something you guys have done well. It's like you guys have processes in place that make things run smooth, and that's what's great about the tournaments,
That takes us back, or the conversation back to USA Grappling. I say USA, but United World Grappling, the sport. If it becomes Olympic, what's your opinion on that? Do you think, that helps jiu-jitsu? Where do you see
my only concern is that I feel like no matter what, jiu-jitsu is going to be hard to just take people that aren't interested and turn them into fans, right? Especially in the gi where things are slow and technical, right? I don't know if I want to see it turn into judo where it's eliminating things to try to get a specific result. I want to see jiu-jitsu be grappling, be submission wrestling, be all together, right? I want to see that to where we don't start banning too many submissions. We don't, we already have so many weird rules in jiu-jitsu that it's like the last thing we need to do is add a bunch more rules to something that's going to make the to try to get a favored result, right?
See, I took away rules for 2024.
Hey, I'm all for it, and I'm willing to give anything a try.
You guys, he heard my new rules.
I did. I made a phone call. I'm not lying. I made a phone call, sent a text.
Very respectful though. Brian said, "Look, I'm not a fan, but you explain things well, Brendan. So please explain it to me.
Let me know what's going on so I understand the mindset, And so the more that I think about it, the more that although it's new and it's changed, and anybody's like I don't know about change, I understand the reasoning behind it, and so I'm willing to try it. Why not? I feel like you guys are smart enough and have your finger on the pulse enough to see that it's either helping or hurting the tournament. It's either helping or hurting the results or the matches or the quality. So it'll get changed or it'll be kept. I have faith in you guys to run it well.
Grappling makes the Olympics, though. The parents could potentially have a kid that does wrestling. There could be grappling scholarships in college.
Exactly, and so that's where you start.
The Olympics, it could change the landscape. There's a few other things that do. We argue about steroids a lot. In jiu-jitsu. Well, they get tested.
Yep.
They also get a full ride and get to go somewhere.
Yeah. That would be incredible.
And if you've seen, because the United World Grappling World Championships is at the United World Wrestling World Championships, right? Mm-hmm. It rotates every year. The governing bodies around the world, governments, bodies around the world, don't recognize IBJJF for other ones that are currently the standard because they don't rotate countries, right? So I didn't know that. I was told that. Yeah. And we didn't have a world championship quite yet. The AGF, we're rotating, and we're this is why I'm able to sign for all the visas. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Is this something you guys want to try to do, is offer an AGF world championship?
Oh yeah, I just me as a person who's been involved in jiu-jitsu a long time, I didn't feel comfortable having a world championship prematurely.
Yeah, that makes sense.
AGF is in Poland and Belgium and Germany and Italy and this kind of stuff, but and it doesn't mean we have to be everywhere, but I just wanted to spread a little bit more. And I have a lot of people in our ear that's like, hey man, the NFL is in America and the Super Bowl is in America, the baseball, blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, I'm not there yet.
Yeah. If you're the thing is though, if you're taking numbers at tournaments, clearly you guys have much bigger turnouts than some of the IBJJFs that we've went through recently, and so you can tell where the communities are still grappling, wrestling based, and kind of here in the Midwest especially, it is turning into where most Midwest schools prefer to go because they know they're going to have more matches, and I see other people post about this. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but the results that we're having here are just much better turnouts, and so you can argue that some of the good black belts compete only in the IBJJF, but it's those guys should start coming over too, because the black belts that are going to be signed up tomorrow or that are signed up tomorrow to compete, some really good talent out there,
For sure,
and so
we got
it's
Italo Lins, and there's good guys that are competing for sure, and the adults are 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m.
It's gonna be all day.
Here, I got another question for you from a coach's standpoint and a person that attends AGF here. What do you think of us doing 3 days?
I was the first person to say do it, and I think that if you guys were to do it in a schedule where you did the black belts first, That would be amazing.
That was my suggestion to Chris.
Because then I can compete and then coach the rest of the weekend. 100%. You know, like I know I'm not the only coach.
The only thing I worried about, because that was my opinion, I said, hey, we'll get those guys to do that first, but it may make you come too early. Like, you know, there's a lot of schools that have a kids coach and an adults coach, or they have 20 students, and so they have, you know, you guys have multiple coaches here today, you know, so. I didn't know if it would make a certain group come too early.
I don't
think
so,
like we stop at 4 today for the kids, right?
Because
we stop at 7 tomorrow for the adults. So
what will be much better? What would be much better is the idea that the parents, they still don't need to travel on Friday. You know what I mean? Like, or they could still travel. I'm sorry, on Friday. They don't need to travel on Thursday because the parents aren't coming to watch the black belts. The parents are coming to watch their kids. So I don't feel like it's really going to change, you know, the burden of a parent to bring their family here, right? I think what it will do, though, is allow the coaches to come early, come Thursday night even, you know, and compete all day Friday and then be done, you know, and like that would be amazing. Because I know a lot of times I just don't want to compete after I've coached all day long, dude. Like I hate it. I hate it. It's the worst.
I've lost before.
I'm terrible at that. Some people are really good at that. I'm not.
Lost before where I was fatigued because of it, and I was super mad at myself.
Yeah, it's just a long day. Yeah, it's a long day, man. And you have the adrenaline dumps all day long, especially like we were talking about earlier. If like I'm coaching my daughter or something, dude, I am.
And as a worker, you know how it is when we work. We're up early. We're at the hotel, drinking coffee.
So I feel, and then also you would free up your black belts who might also be reffing to be free for Saturday and Sunday to ref, you know, and so.
And there was the idea, like I was saying, to switch the kids and adults.
Sunday.
Because the adults go till 7 tomorrow. It's an 11.5-hour spread. From
that'd be much better because then you're out earlier on Sunday. Like I 100% back that schedule. Like show me where to sign up.
People say like, hey, we don't want the kids to travel back home on Sunday. But I'm like, but you'd be out at 4 p.m.
Most people are traveling back on Sunday anyways. You know, like a lot of people are going to end up staying the night Saturday night, even if they get out of here at 4 or 5 o'clock, you know. So like, I feel like that's not going to change. The people that are going to do the down and backs are still going to do that. The people that are going to stay at night are going to stay at night. I don't think it's going to change much at all, except make it to where more black belts would be able and wanting to compete, you know. And
I've looked at other organizations where they got people competing on Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, we can do that.
We got to like travel on a Tuesday, you know.
Yeah. We put a post out like 2 months ago. Me and Chris took a lot of, hey, well, you know, should we add Friday, blah, blah, but we're so far away from the registrations.
Yeah.
And people are such procrastinators.
Oh man,
those last 3 hours before
my students are guilty, very guilty.
3 hours before final registration on that Monday, you know. So,
I'm very guilty.
Yeah, we're gonna have to just say, all right, guys, we're doing 3 no matter what, you know. But it also might lessen up how many mats we have to have and give us some space. Well, we wouldn't have to run as many.
And I think you just got to keep the black belts accountable for those that are like signing up and then they're not competing. You know, like last minute they pull out, and it's like I get it, stuff happens, but I feel like a lot of people. Might take advantage of the free registration sometimes. I
flew to Belgium, Berlin, September 30th. I've been on carnivore diet for 6 months and feeling great and all that. And my guy no-showed in my bracket.
Yeah, see,
I was gutted.
There should be something where like maybe you like if you no-showed like twice or 3 times or something. No, maybe you don't get your free registration for a little bit.
Yeah, no, me and Chris do that. We've already implemented that.
Okay, that's awesome.
That's not but a button for us.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, because we have to rewrite a bracket.
Yeah, man, it makes everybody's day. You know, especially like you said, someone that traveled. You know, maybe for that one match. You know, that's.
I don't want to diminish the respect for younger, lower ranked or children competitors, but the truth is, like, I do want to respect the black belts and the academy owners the most. As a competitor, as a person, as a company. So like when black belts no-show, it's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, you know, they need to have more respect and kind of honor to that as well, I feel. So.
Yeah, and message the company. Don't message the other
for
competitor.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, guy,
what is he going to do for you? Yeah, hey, buddy, I'm not going to be there. Okay.
But I know you got to go, coach, and
got a busy
I got a lineup of people. I appreciate you. Shout out on Instagram, any website, anything.
So you can hit us up at springfieldbjj.net. BJJ is my Instagram, and also Springfield BJJ on Instagram. So check us out. We always have an open mat. We have tons of visitors all the time. So anybody watching this, you guys are more than welcome to stop by and show me some jiu-jitsu.
Check out his camps.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you big time, Brandon. For sure.